Senator Barrister Henry Semende. You have been at the Senate for some time now.
3 years, almost 3 years.
Yes, 3 years now. Are you satisfied with your role as a senator and the House as a whole?
As I said earlier over this on this program about the Senate, I still maintain my opinion that if I were to have my way, if I were met the president of this country, and the Senate has to continue playing the role it is playing, I will scrap it the next day. It is not because I'm a member thereof. It is not because I'm a senator that I should support the fact that the Senate seems to be an idle house. Honestly speaking, I'm yet to see a situation where the Senate rereads a bill and makes a major amendment to the bill as studied and approved by the lower house. I'm yet to see a situation where the upper house really plays a role of reviewing what the lower house had done and bringing alterations to bear over such a bill, over the bills that are forwarded to us as having been adopted by the lower house, for us as elderly members of parliament to bring our experience to bear there by reviewing it positively in favor of Cameroonians. I'm yet to leave that type of situation. What we have, on the contrary, is that of a repeat process. What I observe takes place in the Senate is a repetition of what is done at the lower house. We must be honest at one moment or the other to Cameroonians. We must be honest to tell them what is happening, what is going wrong with their country, in order that when the time shall come, because I think it is not going to be long, we'll be facing a moment of reckoning in this country. Whether we like it or not, there is going to be a transition. A transition is looming by any moment from now. One only God alone can determine when exactly it will happen, but you can be sure about it, Mr. Leonard, that a transition is going to come. And we have to inform Cameroonians. We have to let Cameroonians understand how their institutions are functioning. In order, when that transition moment comes, they can decide favorably what they absolutely need for their Cameroonian society.
Okay. So if I get what you are saying, the Senate is a waste. Is that what you think? The government is wasting money?
I don't really want to put it categorically that way. Maybe the intention of the lawmaker, the intention of those who influence the Cameroon government or the Cameroon institutions, the existing institutions, to create the Cameroonian lawmaker, to amend the constitution and insert the second house of parliament, namely the upper house of parliament as the Senate is. The people had good intentions. Maybe they wanted to see the two houses, the lower house, call it the National Assembly. They wanted to see a situation where it operates like the House of Congress, the House of Representatives, congressional representatives in America. They wanted to see the Senate playing the role that the Senate plays in the US. That was their ambition, where they really play the role of the upper house. Here, I can tell you, Mr. Leonard, without mincing words, that the appellation, the description that we have as the upper house is just protocol.
Yeah, you say
it's just a matter of protocol. That's all.
You describe the house as an idle house. Why? You go there, you don't have
we pretend we are seen to be busy. We pretend to show the Cameroonians that we are playing the role of the upper house. But I can tell you, I'm somebody who observes. When I enter somewhere, I observe and I read what takes place there with a critical eye. And when it comes to giving an advice, I want to give a reasoned advice. I want to give an advised opinion about a house. Why I say it is an idle house, because I am yet to leave the experience for these 3 years, almost 3 years that we have been in there. I'm yet to leave an example whereby the upper house brings an alteration to bear on a bill that has been studied and adopted by the lower house. And I'm yet to even see a situation whereby an amendment of an adopted bill by the National Assembly is permitted to be amended, where a reflection is brought to bear over a bill that has been adopted by the lower house. At times, we seem to be incapable of bringing in a new reflection over a bill that has been adopted. And even the Constitution, Mr. Leonard, it handicaps us even. It makes us, it gives us a cosmetic function of reviewing what the National Assembly had done. Because it is stated in the Constitution, in 1996 Constitutional Amendment, the Law on Constitutional Amendment 1996, they call it a 1996 Constitution. No, we still have the 1972 Constitution as amended by the 1996 Constitutional Law, or the Law on Constitutional Amendment. What we see is that the lower house, what is there in the Constitution is that the lower house does adopt a bill. The real debate takes place and they adopt a bill. Send it to the upper house, we review. If there's an amendment there, we make it. If there's something that we need to, an opinion to need to bring to bear, which will change the position of the bill as far as it was adopted by the lower house, we bring it to bear. But then the lower house has the opportunity to choose whether to take our amendment or not, or to reject it, and send the bill for promulgation as they had earlier adopted before sending to the upper house. So then, constitutionally, we are met to look idle. We are met to look as if our opinion or our whatever alteration we bring to bear over an adopted bill in the National Assembly has no value. In normal circumstances, one will imagine that a bill that leaves the lower house comes to the upper house for a review. After reviewing it, if we have made any alteration to it, has to go to the president directly for promulgation. Not going back to where it came from. Then we are just making a cosmetic review of the adopted position.
What is the problem? Is it the fact that there is an obese CPDM majority at both levels, the National Assembly and the Senate, or the fact that the Constitution does not give you the powers to do what
the Constitution gives us the power to do that. You know, but the thing is that we interpret the Constitution based on party lines. We do things, we do our job, we do our lawmaking job based on party discipline, on party policies. Maybe if the upper house of Parliament was made of mostly opposition MPs or opposition senators, we would have had a different scenario. There would have been some sort of balanced review of, or a different opinion could have been brought to bear over some bills that come from the government for examination. Or maybe if the opposite took place, maybe if the lower house was made of majority opposition, maybe what they will adopt there might have, it depends on what the upper house constituted of. Maybe there could be this review. There could be this positional, there could be different standpoints over certain issues. Maybe would have really lived the real democracy where the real debate takes place. But knowing that the bills are generated from government officials who belong to a political party that is in power, and they come to the lower house, is made of, they have the obese majority. So in fact, and then they are working under party discipline, whereby they have, in fact, they can discuss about certain things that are not correct about a bill under the party or group meetings, but not openly at the plenary. Since they do such things, there's a lot of tidying of things to make sure that the government is not challenged by at times we are made to understand that the whole group meetings, and they are told not to embarrass government officials when it comes to debating bills. So when such things happen, tell me whether the Parliament can play their role as it is supposed to be.
Now, many persons sent me this question when I announced that you were going to be on this program. We announced for Prime, but they're asking why the Senate has not been to the Southwest and Northwest region since the advent of the Anglophone crisis. You guys have not been there.
You mean
a house?
You mean as a house?
Yes, we have not seen your president down there.
The problem is, I would like to know exactly under what circumstances. Is it just a matter of just a visit, or is a constitutional provision to the effect
At least you people are Cameroonians. People are suffering down there. You are senators, you
yeah,
are
I think,
representatives.
well, the decision was supposed to be taken if it was something that they thought that the Senate could get involved, could come to the field. Maybe it could have been decided at the level of the Bureau. I'm not a member of the Bureau, and we have never had any such forum where to discuss about the need for us to go to the ground or to go to Northwest and Southwest.
Yeah, but two regions are under fire for close to 4 years now, and you people are representing the people. And
maybe you could say the senators of the Northwest and Southwest regions have not come together.
Yeah, but
to
let
go
visit. Let the president of the Senate be seen as showing compassion to someone.
You should not forget that if the government doesn't vet such a move, it will not take place. You know, don't forget that we are in a how can I put it? We are in a system whereby everything, we talk about the balance of powers. We talk about the independence of the legislature, judiciary, and the government. But it's an open secret that the government controls the working of all the other institutions, appointments and everything. You can understand that our president is there not because the people voted him or because the councillors voted him. He was appointed, and as an appointee, he was again asked to be voted as the president of the Senate. So you can imagine a situation where an appointee, even though when appointed, they get to.
But he has powers. What stops him?
Nothing stops him. But that's why I'm just telling you that in the mindset of the senators, they don't have any independent mind. So there is no way by which they can decide to carry out such a move if the hierarchy of the party, or if the government has not, or if the head of state has not vetted, has not come up with such.
Are the senators of the Southwest and Northwest regions helpless in the face of what is happening?
We could come together, but honestly, there's mutual suspicion between us, the senators, who are of the opposition, and those in government, and those who are of the ruling party or the party in power. We cannot. I will tell you without mincing words that in my creative initiative,
yes,
I created a group of parliamentarians, not only senators but elected officials, parliamentarians, that's senators and members of the National Assembly or members of Parliament, of the the lower house. I created a forum whereby I included everybody there whose telephone number I had. Some people finding themselves there because I created with them. Some people finding themselves there. They stepped out. They withdrew. People withdrew from the group. That was a group created with the intention of discussing issues like what is happening in the Northwest and Southwest and looking for ways by which we can handle it differently. We can brainstorm. Think about what you are proposing, visiting, coming to the ground, maybe addressing, listening to the people, and showing concern over what their plight is, showing concern over what is going on. At least leave their plight, leave the hardship they're living on ground zero. Share with them. Let them be, even if they never elected, but we can make the best out of a bad situation by behaving as if they unanimously put us there, because not everybody was elected. Some were not elected under transparent circumstances, under democratic circumstances. But then when elected, you are considered an elected official, and there is no bar as long as the elections were vetted by the Constitutional Council, and there is no way you can again, under those circumstances, pretend to say you are not the elected officials of those people. We could turn a bad situation and make it better if we were to really meet under that canopy, discuss frankly amongst ourselves, because they are our people suffering. We don't expect senators from the South region, or from Marwa, or from Garwa, or from Littoral to come and debate on what is happening to our people, so that we can look for our own independent way of handling that situation, or taking the matter up. We could write as senators and members of parliament from the two regions, write to the various houses for them to address the issue. They will take it seriously, more seriously than one individual standing and clamoring for that, or than it coming from another region which is not affected. You cannot mourn more than the bereaved. So that is the reason. That's the reason for which I created that forum. But now, and then the people who remained, the colleagues who remained in the forum, who never opted out, maybe out of shame that if they opt out, it will give a different impression about them not wanting to associate with the rest of the senators and members of parliament from the Northwest. They stayed in, but made no contribution. You will throw a topic for discussion. Silence. The people who will be contributing, they're the regulars. Regular opposition members. Chip in. No member of parliament.
What then is the opposition doing there in the Senate?
The opposition is creating awareness. They are giving the best that they have. For it is said that the beautiful woman can only give the best of what she has. She cannot do more than that.
Okay.
Our being there is an eye opener. Even if it was just one member of parliament from the opposition, it will remain an eye opener. We make sure that things that we managed, it was made to look as an issue of Ngumba House, is brought to bear. Like what I'm doing here now with you, Mr. Leonard, is to draw awareness of the public towards the functioning of the Senate.
The helplessness
of the Senate. The cosmetic role that the Senate is playing as far as the democratic process is concerned. The cosmetic role, how the intentions of the people who thought of the idea of creating the Senate have been thwarted.
Now, I'm sure you took part in voting the bill on decentralization. Yes, recently after the major national dialogue that was done early last year.
I've never stayed away from the Senate session.
Yes, but you voted your appreciation of
when you talk about voting, at times they're even considered necessary to even put it to vote. And they only raise whether any objection, nothing, and they hit. Any objection, nothing, and they just keep going, because they know very well voting is of no moment. It will certainly pass because of the obvious majority, as you have said here. So at times they treat it as a non-event. The way they even hit the gravel on the table, adopted. It makes it a formality. Because they know that if you were to stop it, and when you stop the process by saying, no, let's look at this particular article again, or you see them just murmur, say, oh, no, this is what happens in the House. And then at one moment or another, you feel that you are just disturbing yourself by always trying to break the process, trying to scatter the apple cart that has been mounted. At times, we are talking about issues concerning the lives of Cameroonians. We are talking about decentralization, which is coming in at the moment that people are yearning for it, that one part of the country is at war because of the too much of centralized power, and that they have been yearning to see into it, that they are given more of the freedoms that they had enjoyed even before independence. That's what is causing this war in the Northwest and Southwest.
1 year after the voting of that bill, are you very satisfied with the process so far? The bill on decentralization.
Mr. Leonard, when you are told about decentralization, when you are told about the creation of the various houses and the spatial status and all whatnot, the question you ask yourself is, what are the duties? What are the functions of those houses that have been created to give the Northwest and Southwest special status? I'm not satisfied. If that's the question you want me to answer, I'm not satisfied, because that is not what the people bargained for. That is not what I bargained for as a people's representative. If I have to say I'm representing the people, I should say without mincing words that bill that has become law now on decentralization, I've even taken part at producing it and in both languages and making sure that people read and criticize constructively. That let it not be written, let it not be read as if it is something that they are hiding from the people. Let the people read it so that we can be constructive in our criticisms. That's the reason for which I produce, and I've made sure that I've given to a good number of councillors, and about 5 councillors, and then other colleagues of mine to have come in, produced theirs, and given to other councillors in other areas where my hands could not reach.
What is lacking in the code that would have been included to satisfy your desires?
The thing is, It's like the government is fighting with its people.
Okay.
In that code, it is as if, because somebody asks for omelette, and you serve him with bitter lemon, or he asks for omelette, and you serve him with a dish of pepper prepared for him. That is not what the Cameroonian nation now wants. That is not what the people want. Or if I may say, the people I represent are now in Senate of the Nation, but at least we are meant to come from all of us so that we can represent the aspirations of the people closest to us. I should not go by that pronouncement that a Senator of the Nation or Member of Parliament for the Nation, and you just completely forget that you come from a particular defined area. And if members of Parliament don't come from that area, then you cannot say that the house is complete. So we are coming from the various areas so that we can take the aspirations of our people. We can take the feelings of our people to the places where decisions are taken, so that their opinions can be felt there. The people from the Northwest and Southwest regions, they want a federation.
Okay.
That's the least they want. Honestly speaking, Mr. Leonard, I must not mince words. It is not but it's because I represent a Republican Party, which manifesto, the SES manifesto has, from the onset, stood for federation. But then, the population will represent, honestly speaking, because of the way they have treated people, the federalists, people who were clamoring for federation at the beginning. They were held, they were caught and locked up, and people have lost lives because of federation. People are out of this country, suffering, going through torture out of this country, when meanwhile their motherland, their fatherland is there. They're out of this country because they dare to have asked for federation. As if it is a taboo, as if they can list us, they can name us countries that are practicing federation who are a failure. We instead have decentralized, we have centralized countries that are failures, that are failing their people. The people needed at least a federation. I'm sorry to say this. And honestly, for the period that the government has been dragging its feet, giving the federation, and for the hardship that the population have gone through, the killings, the burning down of villages, in fact, the number of refugees and the atrocities that have taken place in the Northwest and Southwest regions, I can be proud to tell you, I'm from ground zero. I live with the people. I can be proud to tell you that even this federation I'm talking about again, that doesn't represent their mindset any longer. They now want separation. The people are for separation. That is the truth. 99% of the populations of Northwest, or the population of Northwest and Southwest, that could be, I stand to be challenged if they do a plebiscite. Now, if they do a referendum, not a plebiscite, but a referendum, whether the Northwest and Southwest want to remain with their Francophone brothers that they joined happily in 1961, they will tell you that it is too much. They have suffered enough. They will tell you that the best answer for what we are going through now is that the parties live apart, and that they will progress better. They will do more good to their people by living apart, because living together has been bitter. Has been a bitter pill for them to support. I'm saying this, I want to be challenged. Ministers, elected officials, directors, they say it, the same thing. They know it. And they are all. And that is why I am not surprised when one very high dignitary said it. That generally, even generalizing everything, that Anglophones are traitors. He meant it. It is true. Okay. This is their mindset.
Okay, that's their mindset. So, are you rubbishing the recently held regional elections that took place, and we've seen the regional councils?
It has become law. Mm-hmm. But if my opinion is still anything to go by, because those things, as one leader, I don't know whether it was the mayor of Yaoundé or the government of Yaoundé said it, or one minister said it, that laws are made by man, and they can be changed by the same man who makes them. If we could change the constitution, 1996, after the crisis of all this crisis that we have now,
early 90s
had already manifested itself. The same things that the Anglophones are clamoring for today, they have clamored for it in the past to no avail. They have held meetings and all. It's because the difference between 1993 incident, the All Anglophone Conference 1 and 2 and all whatnot, and the zero option that they took then. And now the difference is just that it has morphed into an armed struggle, without which everything that the Anglophones are asking for today, in fact, has been asked for in the 1990s. And that is what led to the tripartite conference and the Ona Constitution, which was still met against the will of the people. It wasn't, they never asked for a decentralized unity state. That's not what the Anglophones were asking for in 1993, 1992, or 1993, 1992, 1995, I think so, when they held the All Anglophone. They wrote all those things a century ago. But we have a system which is like operating against their own people.
Okay, what is fundamentally wrong with the created regional councils and especially
is that they don't have any powers, Mr. Leonard. Okay. They don't have any powers. Just go to the court.
No, I have the code.
Yes, the code, yeah. Just go to the court and look what powers the regional council, regional House of Representatives have got, or what makes Northwest and Southwest special status. Tell me what powers they have got. Can you imagine what they describe as powers? Powers to propose. Powers to propose other issues, national policy on education, the Anglo-Saxon subsystem of education. Powers to propose to the central, to policy making, to the central authority with regard to the common law subsystem of justice, subsystem of justice. Power to create regional development, development organizations or development authorities, like Medino or like some of these things, as if there was any problem creating it. Those are the two main powers over the issues that this crisis started with, namely the educational system and the judicial system.
Yeah, but
they have been given powers to propose policies towards, or propose issues towards national policy as far as those sectors are concerned. So which means that the central authority still has the final say. It means that what the drama that we are doing, performing in the National Assembly and in the Parliament, in the Senate, will still obtain over the issues whereby it has been said the regional houses, the House of Chiefs and the regional House of Representatives, they have powers. They have powers to. You don't have power. Is not a power. You don't when you only have to propose for some other person to take a decision, a final decision over to make a policy over something. You cannot call that power. Is that power? That's not power, Mr. Leonard. That's not what they call power. Power is when you have the right to influence policy towards a particular direction of your choice. And that is what I say. People cry for omelette and they are served with a dish of prepared pepper.
4 years on, Senator Henry Semende, you live in Bamenda with the people. Your assessment of the evolution of the crisis, where are we?
We are continuing with the crackdown on the people we call them Ambas. I have said it, I don't know whether it's over your media outfit or somewhere else. I've said it that from the way they are cracking down on the so-called Ambas, in quotes, it gives me and others the impression that every Anglophone is an Amba. The crackdown is going on. I've heard that whenever an incident happens and it is traced to the Ambazonian fighters, in fact, Anglophones are stigmatized. I'm here too, as one of my reasons of coming to Douala was to go see about the victims of the explosion that I heard took place there at Bipanda, whereby the two people who were involved in whatever, they have passed on. But people who innocently left a meeting house to go visit them, hearing that a child of the village, a student, you cannot read the intentions of anybody. A student who was attending a meeting there is involved in an explosion. We never knew the caliber of nobody knew the caliber of the explosion. When the news came out, it was that a gas bottle has exploded, injuring or there's fire burnt in the house of that student, whereby he needs emergency assistance. So the meeting was holding, and when that news broke out, the meeting delegated some persons to go visit the victim and assess the situation and come back for small contributions to be made.
In the hospital?
In the hospital. As they reached there, the two persons who entered were never released, were never allowed to go. They said they will use them for the first visitors of these patients. And it was alleged that what exploded was artisanal bomb that was about to be made. So that's the rumor that went out. So for that reason, they will use the people, the first visitors who came to carry out
investigations. Yeah.
And when they called me as their senator and as a lawyer, I said, no, it's okay. At least when something happens, like at least the first visitors, they will find out to know who are these people, to get information, either to link investigation towards the relations of these persons. One was Balikumbat, and I think I hear one was Bamali. And I say it's normal. At least 1 or 2 days, they will use them for investigation, take their coordinates and take their addresses, know where they are living, and all so that they can be called upon for additional information. They will 1 or 2 days they will give furnished information that will help the investigators continue, and that will be over. But these are people. One of them is a vice principal of a college, Sacred College at New Bell. One is a family head, and having a garage with apprentices under him, and they are all responsible people with built houses here. They have been there for more than 2 weeks for having paid a visit to a student who was attending in a meeting house where they are president and vice. The people who have been locked up, they are the president of the meeting house and the vice, for coming to see a situation which they heard was alarming. They are caught and locked up. And that it is said that they are assisting in investigation. But how do you punish somebody whom you count on to assist you in investigations? Okay, so I was there to know what is happening. Either they are accused or they are witnesses. And if they are witnesses helping, collaborating in investigation, they should not be treated as accused persons. They should be given their freedom to go and come at will, because they are assisting at the investigations. But then when you punish them as if they are accused persons, as if they took part in the explosion, you discourage people from soliciting information to help the state investigate crimes.
Yeah, but
that's not how under normal standard. That's not how they solicit assistance from people to investigate an offense. If you catch the person whose assistance you need and lock up without allowing him to communicate with his family.
Yeah, the crisis lives continue to.
And then people have all, because of that, nobody comes close again. Nobody comes closer to the persons. And that is the reason for which I said, no, these are my
You met them?
I met them. And I've told them that they should be patient. I will see to it that they are released. Either they are charged. Let us know that they are charged for an offense. Or they are witnesses. And they should be given the privileges of a witness. Somebody helping, except that they see to whom can they be dangerous if they are assisting? If the people who were the principal offenders are dead and buried, to whom can they again be dangerous? Except that they have seen a network. Well, but that's the situation we are going through.
Okay.
Anybody who is related to any incident involving this Amber thing is considered an Amber. So that's why I say, coming back to that issue, that every Anglophone seems to be an Ambazonian.
Okay, but what is the situation back there in the Northwest? You're coming from there?
Since I am moving, I always find out information about what is happening. The latest information I'm receiving is that the kidnappings have been upgraded in town. They are using not motorcycles again, but cars. Okay. And that the situation is becoming more precarious for anybody. This is what we are living now. So we don't know. It is unfortunate. That is why we ought to have had frank dialogue. There is nothing wrong, Mr. Leonard, in having put on a beautiful house or a house that architectural design proved that the architect intended it to be a beautiful house. But then along the line, you discover that the foundation that was laid for that house is somewhat defective. There is nothing wrong. There's no crime committed for you to go back and revisit the foundation of that house to make it solid. in order that we can add even more flaws.
Is that the panacea you are prescribing?
That is what I'm prescribing, because we have fundamental constitutional problems in Cameroon. Our constitution must reflect how this country came to be constructed. Our constitution must reflect the construction, the initial construction, the mindset of the people who built this country. But we are doing some lip service. We are paying lip service. We are telling lies over historical facts, like today's 11th February is celebrated as a youth day. I asked myself the question, why choose only 11th February, which is a historic date for a people? Why choose only that day to make it a youth day? Meanwhile, you have 365 other days or 364 other days from which you could have chosen a different day for the youth day. Even if it was celebrated from the onset as an error. Is it not necessary that we do correct some of those things as the problems keep cropping up? Because what is happening now in the Northwest and Southwest region, Mr. Leonard, people may call it an Anglophone problem, but it has morphed from an Anglophone problem to Southern Cameroon's renaissance.
Okay. Did you listen to the address to the youth by the President of the Republic? Your take?
I didn't listen, because what I expect of him on the eve of a historic date like 11 February, and knowing exactly how this country came to be constructed to be what it is today, what I expected from a head of state is rather the State of the Union address. State of the Union address, where we examine how the distance we've covered, how far we have gone to build confidence in the plebiscite, because that's an event. There's a historic event that took place on a day like this, on 11 February. So he is supposed to address the nation on the State of the Union. How far have we gone? What are the errors we have committed? How can we right those wrongs in order that we can continue building a wonderfully solid, truly one and indivisible nation? But we don't build a nation to be one and indivisible through slogans. We do policies, because we don't mention words. If my history lessons have it correctly, and some of the facts which I lived, because I'm a post-independent, immediately post-independent child, Cameroonian, who was born immediately after independence. I lived some of the situations before they disappeared. What the Anglophone has suffered is that they have been sent backward to pre-independence scenario. That is, they have lost all what gave them confidence in themselves. These are people who have had, I ask questions. There are a list of questions which I have filed at the Senate Secretariat for transmission to the relevant ministries to ask whether the Tico WAF that was there yesterday, saving Southern Cameroons, whereby banana was shipped to England. People used to enter ship there and go to England, where they used to anchor ships, and they used to even do ship repairs there. Whether the people of Southwest, in particular, the people of Tico in particular, and Southwest and Northwest at large, they have gained anything by closing that Tico WAF or the Tico seaport and enforcing, reviving Douala, or making Douala where they have to collect their goods. Have they made their lives better, or they have made it worse off? I asked that question to the Minister of Transport. I asked whether the Tico International Airport that used to exist, which has now been ruined, whether by closing that airport and making it such that people who are from Tico or from Limbe or from Kumba, instead of landing at Tico International Airport that used to be, whether by landing in Douala now, they are better off than they were yesterday. Whether power cam that used to generate electricity at Yoke, whether by dismantling the electricity installations there at Yoke Dam, at Moyoka there, and transferring it somewhere else, and killing that electricity supply, even for the Moyoka community alone, whether they have made the ban in Moyoka better off than they would have been with the amount of watts that could be generated there and could take care of their local needs. Whether they have made the man of Moyoka better off than he was before independence. Those are the questions that I asked. I asked whether the Santa Coffee Estate that has been destroyed, by destroying it and transferring the equipment and whatsoever east of the Bongo, and taking it to marketing board to Douala and all whatnot, and later on it becomes inoperational. Whether they have made the Santa man, or they have made the Northwesterner better off without the Santa Coffee Estate than when they had it. Certainly the answer is negative. They have made the lives of the people of Northwest and Southwest worst off by dismantling those things. So that's what those are some of the genesis of the problems that we're having today. The answers to those questions are still awaited from the Minister of Transport whenever they'll be sent to him. To come and address the House and tell us whether this population, for what they are complaining about, whether the bank that we had, Cameroon Bank, which was a flourishing bank, which could give better loan than the one that obtained in the former East Cameroon, the people who used to benefit from loans from those banks are better off without that bank.
Senator, unfortunately, we'll have to end the interview at this juncture. We hope that we are going to have another opportunity to have you for more than this period, but time and the constraints we've all faced today imposes on us to end at this juncture.
You should always create more time for the program so that we can
I hope we do that, but certainly you have one last word for the people watching you. No.
People should be frank. People should keep talking. I have been trained to talk as a lawyer. As a member of parliament, people should not expect me to come and be building bridges or to be doing things that I'm not a vote holder. A member of parliament is not a vote holder. You should not expect him to come and be giving goodies. That is not the role of a member of parliament. Member of parliament is to talk, check government action. Whether you are of the ruling party or of the opposition, your duty, except you are telling Cameroonians that when you are of the ruling party and you are in parliament, you are irrelevant. Because you are supposed to check government action, whether you are of the ruling party or not. So people should do their jobs. People should bring out what is not working. And that they should prepare for the transition.
Okay.
Where some of us will shout at the top of our voices that certain things should never happen again in this country.
Okay. Televiewers, we are very happy you took time off to watch the program. We sorry, we would have loved to discuss more with Senator Semende, but as I'm sure he's going to be here in the week, so next month, if possible. Are you taking it
at your discretion? You had mobilized a whole team to come to Yaoundé and interview me at my home. It could still be organized by my media prime.
To come to Bomenda?
Anywhere, even to invite me here.
Okay. We want to say thank you for coming, accepting our invitation, and also we are inviting you all to continue watching programs on My Media Prime. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.